live and direct from the Golden State. It's intelligent talk media, The Denice Gary Show. Now, here's Denice Gary.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Denice Gary Show. I'm just so thrilled that you're here with me today and grateful. And thank you for just sharing out this broadcast. I notice that there continues to be shares, and I appreciate that. Please feel free to write any questions. My producer will share these questions out. You're probably wondering, when are we going to get that phone line into the studio? Hopefully that's coming soon. But please feel free on my Facebook, facebook.com/Kerncast, facebook.com/Kerncast, or facebook.com/The Denice Gary Show. Let's get right into it today, because I have a lot to cover, and again, please share this out. This is a lot of information that you'll be taking in today, and it's very relevant to the midterm elections in 2018 in November this year. So let's start with Governor Brown. I didn't have an opportunity to say much about it yesterday, but there's an organization, it's a non-partisan organization. You can check them out. It's called Truth in Accounting Project. Truth in Accounting Project. And they analyze government financial reports to make sure that whether it's local, state, federal, that the government is telling you the truth about their finances. So it's Truth in Accounting Project. And California has been given an F grade by this nonpartisan Truth in Accounting Project for claiming surpluses. In fact, I was one of those individuals that said, I don't know, I think it was about a month or two ago, that Governor Brown claimed that $8.8 billion was going to be in a surplus account for the state of California. And I remember commenting to all of you about that, because I mentioned to you, with all of the taxes that Californians are paying year after year, and the number of taxes, the bills that keep being passed that become state legislation, are causing all of us to have to tighten our belts and pay ever more close attention to, where our money is going. And I just thought it was incredible that Governor Brown would report that out. And again, I believe that was a month ago, but apparently this is not the case at all. And that California, it says Ms. Weinberg, she's referring to the state of California as a sinkhole state, is especially critical of Governor Brown because she indicates that the governor of the state of California has only $100.1 billion in available assets to pay the $369.9 billion in bills. So in other words, we need $269 more billion dollars, which takes me to the next issue. So, if you want, well, before I go to the next issue, let's just ask you to please. It's so important that everybody get out and vote. And I hope that your message to your next door neighbor or your coworker or your friend or family member will be this: that if you vote for a Democrat here in the state of California or for Washington, D.C., or even on the local level, on the local level, Democrats seek to raise taxes as well. So, city council members, Kern County Board of Supervisors, Kern County Board of supervisors that are running in November, people in the legislature and the executive branch in the state of California, and of course in Washington, D.C. I hope that you will tell them that it's the Democrats that have created this horrific budget deficit of $269.9 billion, and we have $369 billion worth of bills that have to be paid. What we need is to expand, of course, the tax base and cut taxes. But we've got over 100,000 Californians that have just left the state. And of course, with them goes all their money that can no longer be taxed. So if people keep leaving the state of California, there will be fewer and fewer tax dollars upon which the executive and legislative branches of government can pull on to pay the bills. So instead of watching the continual line of Californians leaving the state to go to more business-friendly states and income tax friendly states, let's get Republicans in office in the state of California and make this state affordable. Okay, moving on. Talking about taxes. California has a new water rationing law. And bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, it's a tax. So California's new water rationing program is a brand new law signed by Governor Brown, has set new standards of water usage here in the Golden State. Here is what their water rationing bill now says. Quote, the bill, until January 1st, 2025, establishes 55 gallons per capita daily as the standard for indoor residential water use. Well, guess what? 55 gallons a day for indoor water use is not what it takes for a family living in a home. In fact, according to the Department of Interior, the federal government's Department of Interior's latest report, the average person uses every day 80 to 100 gallons of water a day. So if the average person is using 80 to 100 gallons a day, what does that mean if now these same individuals have to use 55 gallons per day? What it means is this, that you will be taxed. You will be taxed for violating the law. Now, what will happen with respect to this tax is the water agencies here in the state of California are going to be fined. Guess what the fine is? According to this report, based on the legislature in the state of California, those fines are $1,000 a day. Now, do you think the California Water Department is going to just absorb fines of $1,000 a day? Of course not. They're going to pass it on to you and I, water consumers, which I guess is going to mean a lot fewer showers. I'm not quite sure what that means. I hope the state doesn't become a lot smellier as a result. I mean, I'm just, my producer is really cracking up at that one. Really, I mean, you just hope if we can only use 55 gallons a day. I mean, what does that mean in terms of our personal hygiene? You got to ask yourself that question. My producer is going to weigh in on this.
I'm wondering what's going to happen. I have to clean dishes and laundry. I have like three teenagers.
You have two boys and a girl.
Right.
So you probably do a lot of washing because they are all three of them teenagers, aren't
yes.
they? Yeah, and they're involved in sports. Your two sons are involved in sports.
No, my son and my daughter are involved in sports.
Okay, all right.
So
that's a lot of washing. I don't know if the Department of the Interior in Washington, D.C. tells us we need at least 80 gallons a day per person. We drink less water and we walk around smelling bad all summer long. Maybe not so bad in the winter, but it makes me feel, how do you feel? I mean, does it make you feel like we're living in a third world country? I mean, I know that in the third world, people might take a shower once a week. But I don't know. I just... really disturbs me. So let's look at what the Sacro Bee reported. So after assuring people, this is what the California State Legislature is doing. They're trying to assure people in articles like, for example, the Sacramento Bee, that all you need to do is buy a new washing machine, okay, a new shower head, and that'll take care of it. I already have a shower head that I think supposed to be saving on water, and I don't know. This is, according to the National Health Insurance Scheme, you could save your family $2,300 a year if you follow, of course, the Democrats' lead and just use less water. It's like the California cap and trade. The cap and trade tax, which led to the highest gas tax in the nation, high tolls on our roads. The governor of the state of California, Democrat. Who's the Democrat running in 2018? Gavin Newsom. Who's the Republican running in 2018? John Cox. John Cox has already said, as the Republican candidate that came in second after the Democrat, Gavin Newsom, I will cut taxes. So you Republicans that say, you know what, he's not conservative enough, or maybe some of you might say, he's too moderate, or maybe you moderates might think he's too conservative. Let's pull together as a party. Let's convince our friends and family that may be Democrats or independents. We've got to cut taxes. We've got to find a way to get people to come back to California that are going to help shoulder the burden as this state continues to have to pay for things that Democrats passed into law, and it'll take time for a Republican governor and Republicans in the state legislature to begin to repeal these issues. We cannot remain a state that's run by Democrats in the executive branch and then in the state legislature and in the judicial branch. So anyway, anything else? Democrat leader, remember Rahm Emanuel? He worked for former President Barack Hussein Obama. He said, you know what? You people in California, apparently he seems to think we waste billions of gallons of water through our crumbling infrastructure. President Trump wants to work with every governor of every state to rebuild crumbling infrastructure here in the Golden State and in every state. Let's elect John Cox. I know many of you voted for Travis Allen. I appreciate that. He's been right here in the studio. I really appreciated him, and I appreciated everything he stood for, and I supported him. But he didn't win the primary. So let's back the Republican who did, and let's send him to the governor's mansion and let him get to work on behalf of the people of California. Now, moving on, I want to talk about, I want to say something about the First Lady, Melania Trump. I understand that she flew into Texas, into a border community, to speak to children, minors, to speak to them and to speak to the staff there about, and to see for herself the conditions of the children that under President Trump's leadership were, according to the law, those children had to be separated from their parents because they have to be prosecuted under the law because they violated California law. They didn't go through a legal port of entry. They were just trying to enter the United States illegally and violate the law. So when that happens, they were separated temporarily from their children. And I just wanted to say about the questions I understand that Melania Trump asked were excellent. She asked, for example, how many phone calls, how many conversations are these children allowed to have on a daily and weekly basis to communicate with their parents and talk to their parents, be reassured by their parents. She talked to them about the food, and I guess apparently she wanted to see the meals that they were being fed. You know, I think it is incredible. And I really appreciate this. This First Lady, when she was in Israel and when she's gone to different countries, I notice that she likes to visit orphanages, which, you know, is something that I've always really cared deeply about and done myself. I just noticed she visits children's hospitals, and she does a lot. She thinks a lot about children. And she's a full-time mother. And she, I guess, has really invested a lot in being there for her son, Barron. And I think that she ought to get some credit. And I'm deeply saddened that my fellow Americans, Democrats, and possibly independents that are joining with Democrats, would be critical of the First Lady and the President. I thought it was interesting that when in doing research, I want to go a couple places with this. First of all, I read a report about how, this is where I saw this. There is a report called The Treacherous Journey, Child Migrants Navigating the U.S. Immigration System. And in this report, it talked about children who come from all over the world, and of course from Mexico and Central America, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. But children come from all over the world, and apparently they have found that many of these children have left because their parents were forcing them to marry someone against their will. There have been children from Afghanistan and from the Middle East. Maybe they left because they were fearful of female genital mutilation, which is a federal crime, and it's a violation of international law. So the FBI absolutely goes after parents who then are separated from their children if they are found to be involved in committing female genital mutilation. And of course, there's been an uptick in those crimes after the individuals that President Obama allowed into the country without properly vetting them. Oh, by the way, on President Obama, just read about a lawsuit. The President Obama's immigration agency allowed migrant youths as young as 14 to be abused. Under this lawsuit that was settled in January of this year in Virginia, in a juvenile detention center in Virginia in 2015 and 2016, children were tied up naked and left in solitary confinement. This under the Democrats' control of unaccompanied minors. Under Democrat control, according to this report that was put out called A Treacherous Journey, Child Migrants Navigating the U.S. Immigration System, talks about in fiscal year 2014, 60,000 children entered the country. Fiscal year 2013, this is all during the Obama years, over 25,000. In fiscal year 2012, close to 15,000. In pre-2012, the average was about maybe 8,000, maybe 5,000 pre-2012. Ladies and gentlemen, under Barack Hussein Obama, we went from about 5,000 children entering the United States unaccompanied. We're not talking about with their parents. We're talking about children who are fleeing abusive parents from their home country. We're talking about children that were being forced to marry, female genital mutilation, being sold into slavery, parents that sold their children into slavery, parents or a parent that tried to traffic their children in order to get money to support their drug use. So under the Obama administration, we came to 60,000 children unaccompanied with no one coming across the desert into the United States. And under Obama, what happened? Catch and release. So some of these people got drawn into gangs, and of course their life has been ruined as a result. You can't allow children to just enter the United States illegally and unaccompanied. President Trump is doing exactly the right thing by enforcing the law, because these children, although they may be detained while seeking asylum in the United States, at taxpayer expense, we are going to provide them 3 meals a day. We're going to provide them with recreational opportunities and fun. We're going to give them medical care. The Trump administration is working to follow the law and do the right thing. And his wife, the First Lady of the United States, goes to a border area today and begins a process of checking out the facilities to satisfy herself that these children are treated properly. I don't know what Democrats and independents and undeclareds expect from a Republican administration. The House Republicans tried to pass a bill in the House today. And obstructionists, Republican moderate obstructionists, did not get the legislation passed. But if you support the president and his efforts by detaining these young people, you separate them out and prevent them from going to a human trafficker, somebody that's going to abuse them, or a relative from a Muslim-dominant country who's going to seek out that individual and find them so that they can undergo female genital mutilation, so they can be sent back to Yemen or Saudi Arabia or Oman or Jordan or Egypt or Algeria or Tunisia or Morocco, so they can be forced to marry somebody that maybe is in his 50s. Because we see that a lot in the Middle East. It's called child brides. It's a real horrific and ugly phenomenon that exists in the Arab Muslim world. Child brides, 11 years of age, being married off to some guy that's 40-something or 50-something. And so this is important, that this president is really saving lives. And again, based on the point I made yesterday, not all of these parents are truly parents. Some of them are posing as parents. We've got to take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got some other things I want to share out with you when we get back, so I'm going to probably change the subject after the first couple minutes. So when we get back, let's hit a couple other items. Thank you so much for tuning into the Denice Gary Show.
I want to tell you about a place I love to go, Frugatti's Italian Restaurant. Very few locations here provide seating outside in front of a fabulous water fountain with an atmosphere that is reminiscent to me of eating outdoors in Venice. This is real Italian food by real Italians. And what makes it even more so is owner Ralph Frugoletti, who nearly a quarter century ago brought a wood fire oven from Milan, Italy to make, like his mother, fresh homemade bread and pizzas. Moreover, Frugatti's Restaurant offers you not only the very best in Southern Italian cooking, even importing the finest ingredients for authentic Italian food, including a fitness menu. After all, Ralph has represented the United States and Italy, competing in the Master Championship Games. He knows all the right food for good fitness, so check out the menu. After today's broadcast, run over to Frugatti's Italian Restaurant and Catering at 600 Coffee Road here in Bakersfield. And after a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday service, stop into Frugatti's for a great lunch. I'll see you there, and tell Mr. Ralph Frugoletti that Denice sent you. Salute. Bon appetito.
Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to legal matters, contact Barb Reynolds. She is a contract paralegal to lawyers, and she will take good care of you. Moreover, she is a Kern County legal document assistant to pro per litigants. She has 47 years of paralegal experience, and for over 30 years has been an educator in the field of law and paralegal work. If you need help handling your adoption, bankruptcy, civil suit, divorce, debt consolidation, evictions, immigration, or attorney referrals. Contact Barb Reynolds if you want to win your case. Call Tehachapi Court Services today at 661-822-1994. Barb is simply the best. Call Tehachapi Court Services today at 661-822-1994. Ladies and gentlemen, real quick, since I was talking about the 60,000 under the Obama administration that have come unaccompanied into the United States, I wanted you to hear former ICE agent David Ward, very articulate on the issue. He was on Fox and Friends, but I appreciate what he had to say about this issue, because this is something that we do need to call our Democrat senators, Dianne Feinstein and Kamala Harris in Washington, D.C., at 202-224-3121. And we need to say, we need to get judges down there on the border, and we need to get people that can help these unaccompanied children. We need to either get them back to where they belong, or, you know, after vetting them and finding out exactly what their set of circumstances is, make an informed and wise decision that's in the best interest of that child. And that will take more judges. That will take more caregivers. So I want you to listen to David Ward real quick.
It's not going to. There's a small amount. Matter of fact, it's only 20% of families that are coming in with children. The other 80% are unaccompanied minors. In fact, to the end of May, 32,000 unaccompanied minors have crossed our border.
So what should happen next? What do you think will happen today?
We have to bring in the foreign national leaders, the consuls, and set up a remedy in which these children are repatriated back to their home countries as soon as possible. We need to increase the number of immigration judges and immigration trial attorneys to expedite all these deportation cases in which these people are facing.
So I wanted to ask you about that in terms of increasing the number of judges needed, where the money needs to go to actually make all of this happen.
Well, we do need to increase the staffing of immigration judges. There's only so many in the United States, and we need to vastly increase it. The other thing we need to do is increase asylum officers that can review these refugee cases that are coming through the ports of entry. But our goal right now is securing our national border, in which most of these people are coming across the unsecured border. Congress has an obligation to protect this country, and it's reprehensible that they have advocated their responsibilities onto the executive branch and told the executive branch, like Chuck Schumer did the other day, told the president to do what Congress was supposed to be doing all along. Right. Everything's been misdirected. It's Congress's responsibility to do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, so he raises some very interesting points I think that we need to follow up on. So please take that information to your members in the House of Representatives. Call them at 202-224-3121. And, you know, I know we have two Democrats that are sitting there as our representatives in the United States Senate. Call them anyway. Be respectful. But tell them you appreciate the fact that President Trump is working to close the loopholes and uphold the law. It truly is actually, I believe, in the best interests of children that are coming to the United States. And I want to say this as an FYI, you know, we're approaching the weekend. There was a special operations unit there at the beach city of Rosarito. This is right near Tijuana. I know lots of people go down to Tijuana for the weekend. I don't. I wouldn't. I think it's too dangerous. And indeed, there was another murder right there near Tijuana by two gunmen who approached and just opened fire on a vehicle, and one of the people near the vehicle was this police commander who's part of a special operations unit. So we've got Islamic terrorists on the border. There's a lot of recruitment going on right now by Islamic groups that are tied to Iran and Palestinian groups. Countries like Chile, they celebrate Yasser Arafat, Mahmoud Abbas. And they do business here in the United States, and they're out to make money, and they dip their hand and get it involved in some of these terror groups. So wanted to mention that just as an FYI. Also, Bernie Sanders supporters, the socialists of America. I wanted to say this to Democratic socialists here in this country. They keep chanting that immigrations and custom enforcement agents and the agency itself should be abolished. And what they've been doing in Washington, D.C., I don't know, maybe in other parts of the country, is, for example, when the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kirstjen Nielsen, was at a dinner, I imagine with her family, this woman by the name of Miss Hararbar, H-R-A, it's spelled H-R-A-B-A-R, Hararbar, went up to the secretary while she was trying to probably relax and have dinner with the family, and started screaming at her, saying how, she needs to disappear. So I hope that we can, as we discuss these issues, do so in a civil and polite manner. And this is really incumbent upon all of us. If we want to win the argument with Democrats, with leftists, with liberal progressives, with independents and undeclared, we've got to point out the humanitarian aspect of why it's important to uphold the law, because when the law is not upheld, gunmen walk up to a special operations police commander and kill them. Or these unaccompanied migrants, of which 32,000, I believe David Ward indicated, 32,000. They're here, they're at the border. Should we catch and release them as President Barack Hussein Obama did? No. You're probably just opening up the door to a life of crime, gang warfare, or other horrific kinds of hardships. I mean, I can't imagine being young and unaccompanied and in a brand new country trying to learn a new language, and it seems extremely tragic to me. So I hope that you'll support the president and his efforts. And by the way, most Americans do. There was a poll that was just conducted that showed that 3 to 1 Americans, 3 to 1 Americans support the president's desire to uphold the law. Now, I want to talk about something else real quick. I mentioned it just briefly, I believe it was Monday, about Israeli researchers talking about a new way they have found to curb the growth of cancer cells. And I wanted to get this out. A group of researchers at Ben Gurion University of the Negev, the Negev is in southern Israel, Ben Gurion University, researchers there have developed a new molecule that they say inhibits the growth of cancer cells and reprograms cancer cells to be non-cancerous. This new treatment, which is available in Israel, I don't know if it's available yet in the United States. This new treatment is based on inhibiting the production of a protein that, of course, facilitates an increase of cancer cells. This new molecule is called siRNA, which when applied to the cells was found to stop the growth of cancer cells, and when applied to mice with tumors, it caused the shrinking of tumors on mice. So and it allowed these mice to actually go back to their original normal-like state. I just think that's fabulous. Again, this new treatment, SI, capital RNA, lowercase si, Cerna treatment of various cancer types seems to be doing its job. So Ben Gurion University of the Negev, you can always contact them. If you're a cancer patient or you know someone who's a cancer patient, apparently there's a new molecule that's available that with that treatment it's supposed to reprogram those cancerous cells and cause those tumors to go away. I wanted to make sure I clearly stated that today, and now I have to go. So Friday will be a longer show. Tomorrow hopefully will be a longer show. I hope so. And I've got another substitute producer tomorrow, and he may tell me I have to be out of here by 5:30 exactly. But if not, hope to have a longer show tomorrow and give you a little bit more information about what's going on, not just here in the Golden State, but around the world. Because, ladies and gentlemen, what happens here affects the whole world, and oftentimes what's happening in the world today affects us right here at home. Thank you for listening to the Denise Gary Show. This is Denise signing off.
Thank you for listening to the Denise Gary Show. Intelligent talk media.